Well, Texas, I think, it speaks for itself when it comes to those red states. And let me tell you,
I'm sure you're going to brag on Texas. We're talking about your whole
and all of these red states, when you think about it, because the real issue perspective is, what's the best that you can do for your family? And I got to think, even Van Jones thinks, it's to have a good job, to take care of my family so that they can go on to whatever they want to do in life.
No argument there, sir.
Having a job is the single most important thing. And
red
states are creating those jobs. In the state of Texas, we created 30% of all the jobs, all the private sector jobs from 2000 to 2012. Now, you take those out of the equation, and President Obama, he ought to be thanking me and Texas for the job creation that we've done down there in Texas over the course of the last few years.
And I still haven't heard from Rick about the minimum wage. How about it?
I don't think it's the government's business to be setting the minimum wage out there. And even the CBO said, if you want to get rid of a million jobs between now and 2016, raise the minimum wage. And here's the issue, Pat, and I think you got to believe this. At a time when jobs are at a premium in this country, the last thing you want to be doing is putting policies into place that will kill jobs. And not only
put purchasing power in the hands of consumers. They're going to spend the money.
And to tell the people that don't have that has a job today, I'm sorry, but to help these folks over here, you're not going to have a job.
The Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago said every dollar you raise in the minimum wage creates $2,800 in purchasing power. And 70% of our economy are consumers buying things.
We know
Let's put more money in the pocket.
We know that forcing small businessmen and women to raise the minimum wage, they're going to have to make the decision between whether they're going to hire people or they're going to raise the minimum wage.
And what all the studies have shown the opposite.
No, that's not correct. You're absolutely wrong about that.
You are the one who was quoting the CBO report, which said 0 to 1 million. So the same report you're citing actually makes this point: 0 jobs lost or 1 million. They're kind of guessing there. But I want to ask you a question. You're sitting here defending these minimum wage jobs, and we know for a fact that you have a lot of big corporations that are paying people, full-time workers, so little that they have to put their hands out for food stamps and for Medicaid. Do you think that big corporations should be able to pay people so little in America that that the government has to subsidize their workers? Are you for that?
95% of all the jobs that were created in Texas during that decade are not minimum wage jobs. 95% of them are jobs that are paying above the minimum wage. When you have an environment where you have the tax structure that doesn't strangle small businessmen and women, you have a regulatory climate that is fair and predictable, you have a legal system that doesn't allow for oversuing, and you put money into an accountable public school and then get out of the way, jobs will be created, and good jobs. I'm talking good paying jobs in Texas, and it'll work in Illinois even.
The
most important thing that we can do, Governor, is to help create a climate where job creators know they can risk their capital, have a chance to keep as much of that as they can, and they'll keep people at work.
I'll give you one more, and I got one more.
Rick Perry, a good friend of mine, he and I went to Iraq and Afghanistan together, and we were roommates. We were roommates, and we had some philosophical differences along the way.
Just a few.
But his daddy was in Texas, elected official, and he believed in Sam Rayburn, who was a supporter of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who started the minimum wage. It was 25 cents an hour in 1938. Now it has to keep up with the cost of living. So I think you ought to go back to your... You can come back home.
You know what? My dad is going to have his 89th birthday in April. And I was talking to him just the other day, and I said, hey, Dad, what do you think about this minimum wage being raised? He said the government ought to stay out of our damn business.
Well, I'm just telling you, there's an old Democrat. My mom is 96 years old.
You guys are worse than senators. You guys are worse than senators. You're filibustering. Let me talk. Isn't it the case that you've given $19 billion in subsidies to these corporations, and yet when you look at, you've got a large number of minimum wage jobs, your new jobs, them are minimum wage, a lot of minimum wage jobs. Aren't you just bribing corporations to come and create crappy jobs? Isn't this really just the Texas mirage?
No.
Nah!
But you really bring up a really interesting thing. As I shared with you earlier, 95% of all the jobs created in Texas are above minimum wage. So the jobs that we're creating are good jobs. And there's nothing wrong with entry-level jobs. I mean, best I can tell, nobody started out at the corner office. So these entry jobs are important. And here's the interesting thing that I think if you put the right tax policy and regulatory policies into place, And with this shale gas phenomena that's going on in the United States, and hopefully our administration will really push that forward so that we can take advantage of that even more, driving down the cost of power. And we're going to be bringing those jobs back from China. We're going to be bringing those jobs back from India, and they're going to be paying a heck of a lot better, and we're going to create even more jobs as long as we can get the administration to go along with it.
Why not accept the money from Washington to have more people with health coverage? We've done that in Illinois. I can't understand why Texas doesn't want to have everyday people.
The answer is really straightforward, Governor, and it's we don't want to bankrupt our state because we know what's going to happen. Obamacare
covering people with health care.
We've got some of the finest health care and access to finest health care. We've got over 70 federally qualified health clinics in the state of Texas, 300 different locations now. So we're expanding
have all these people
the
without
access.
any insurance.
But the key is access to health care.
What about that report? You like that CBO report? What about that report?
I don't buy into that report because we got the finest health care. And we got the Texas Medical Center in Houston, Texas, where more doctors, more scientists, more nurses go to work there every day, and we have access to the finest health care in the country, in the state of Texas. Here's the more important question. Would you rather make the decisions for health care for Illinois, you and your legislature, or would you rather a bureaucrat from Washington, D.C., because that's what we've got with Obamacare.
Okay.
They're making the decisions for you. I don't want them making the decisions
I walked
for us in
across
Texas.
Illinois. You know, Rick and I don't always agree, in case you didn't see, but we do agree on helping service members and veterans. Yeah. And we went together to Iraq, to Afghanistan. We had 3,700 members of the Illinois National Guard in Afghanistan a couple years ago. And we got to make sure we take good care of those who were born in the battle.
Yeah, well, listen, I want to thank Governor Pat Quinn and Rick Perry. The debate